Guess what, guys? We are back. This is a Star Wars themed episode for the first half. It's almost a 2 hour episode, probably less than that. But the first hour or so is Star Wars themed. We talk our favorite Star Wars films and our least favorite Star Wars film. We go into detail about it, each part of the films. I don't remember how many films we discussed. But yeah, it's fun. We go into what we love, and it's Star Wars. And we also then discuss the recently released Marvel film Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, that part is full of spoilers. If you haven't seen the film, then stop the recording when we get to that part. I give a warning before that. So don't worry. Once you hear my warning, you can stop it, watch the film, come back, hit play, and finish listening to the review. You can give us then your opinions. You can email us at bitsforyoupodcast@gmail.com. That's bits, BITS, the number 4, YOU, podcast@gmail.com. Or even on Twitter. You could just send us a tweet. We're pretty active on Twitter. So we usually respond within an hour or so, depending how busy we are. Yeah, that's that part of the episode. We also did a survey. I'm going to put the link here at the description of the episode. If it's on iTunes, I think you just tap the logo of our podcast and it'll take you to the description. The description has a bunch of links. You'll see on the top or so the link for the survey. Survey takes about 60 seconds, not long. It helps us out. Things that what you guys are liking about the show, about the podcast. Your least favorite thing. Just let us know. Be honest. Feelings are not gonna get hurt. It's just us trying to see where we take this in the future. All right, so enough of me talking. I'm going to start this shit right now. I hope you guys recognize that theme. That's for May the 4th be with you. This is recorded on May the 4th. You guys will be listening to this on Monday, whatever day that is. I can't think that far ahead, sir. Oh, no. Here we go again. Chewy, come on, Chewy. No more Chewy.
Yeah, today was May the 4th, and we were thinking about the previous Star Wars movies, and we were talking about which is our favorites.
Yeah.
And so I want to talk a little bit about that in this episode.
Yeah, we'll try to keep this Star Wars themed for the most part, and see where that goes.
Yes. So for our favorite episode. How about you start off? Which was your favorite episode?
So out of the seven films, we're not talking about Rogue One or spin. That's considered a spin-off. It is a good Star Wars film, at least in my opinion. But the 7 main canon episodes, I'm gonna go with episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, as my favorite.
Yeah, and to be honest, episode 5 being a favorite is not a surprise to anybody, really. I think universally
a surprise
that's the favorite.
to diehard Star Wars fans. Let's get that correct.
I mean, a lot happens in that episode.
Shit ton of information happens.
A lot of new characters that are loved in the series. are in this episode.
Introduced.
Yeah, like we have Yoda, Boba Fett, Lando.
Yoda is here.
Right. It also has that famous scene.
I am your father.
Oh shit! You
Right.
are my father.
So it's if we adjust it for inflation, it's the second highest grossing sequel of all time, in North America.
Wait a
So
minute.
it just kind of shows you just by the numbers. This is how I love this episode is.
This movie made more money than Back to the Future Part 2?
Yeah, I don't know what's the highest grossing sequel.
Uh-huh.
I'm guessing maybe Batman or something.
I don't know. We'll find out. We will find out when we do a Batman episode.
Yeah. So, like we said, Yoda's introduced, and we know
I like.
he's obviously very loved. We have, like I said, Boba Fett, that bounty hunter. He's, I mean, just because his popularity in these episodes, 5 and 6. Actually, does he only show up in 6 for a little bit?
This is the thing that I discussed with my brother previously. I think it was one of the episodes, but anyways, I know for sure he appears in episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
In Cloud City, correct? I think.
Right.
Okay. Then he appears in episode 6 in the big act. The first act, he has a big part there. So he was telling me that he is mentioned or appears in episode 4, A New Hope. I don't recall that.
Yeah, me neither. Because Darth Vader hired him to, or maybe the Emperor. Either or, they hired him to to get the.
I mean, if anything here, if anybody wants to add information or tell us, you could always share with us on our Twitter or email us. I'll give you that information later at the end of the episode. But I don't recall, and I'm not gonna go get the Blu-ray to watch it if he appears in that episode.
I think if he does appear, it's like a short cameo.
Minor, yeah, like maybe not even a full minute. I'm assuming.
Maybe not even a full second.
Yeah, probably. It's like a little, maybe like the camera just pans and there he is.
Yeah. Obviously, he's a big deal in episode 2.
No, Ep 5, Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, no, and 2, the Clone Wars. Wasn't he the one they cloned?
Okay, no, he's Janga's his father.
Sorry, his father. You got the idea.
Yeah.
He's a deal. He's mentioned quite a bit, and his father obviously is the.
In episode 2, yeah, Attack of the Clones.
They would not have done that if it wasn't for the fact that he was popular with the fans.
Yeah, he's
all the way back to episode 5.
He's also popular in the comic books and novels. That's where his story got expanded on.
So, what do you think of him as a character? I mean, episode 5, you don't really get much out of him except the way he handles himself. What did you think of him when you saw episode 5?
Well, I liked his design and his costume. He seemed menacing from the get-go, and he has these cool gadgets on his arms. Just his helmet is fucking badass. Then I don't remember exactly if he was wearing the backpack, that the rocket pack as it is called, exactly in the Empire Strikes Back, but we do get to see that in full action in Return of the Jedi in the first act. So I think the Return of the Jedi, when he was elaborated and had more scenes in that movie, a lot of people, and especially like myself included, were just in awe of him, like a fucking rocket pack. And it was the movie came out in '83, so that technology with having somebody with a rocket pack on the back, and flying around hadn't really been done in movies 30 years ago. I can't recall anything like that. I mean, I think there was a James Bond movie in the late 70s that did it, but if I'm remembering correctly, it was very cheesy and nothing compared to the effects that Star Wars did in '83.
Either way, it was fresh.
You're right. It was still fresh. Someone mentioned to me, I don't know if it was a friend of mine or a brother. My brother, he mentioned to me, but the Rocketeer has a rocket pack. Yeah, the Rocketeer was done 10 years later. I think in '92 or '93.
Yeah,
wait, 91 or 92. But it was almost 10 years later, and it was, obviously, the effects were improved upon. It was also done by ILM. ILM did the effects for Star Wars and The Rocketeer. But in the early 80s, that had not been done before. So that, to me, as a kid, I was only like 2 or 3 when I saw that movie. I was like, holy shit. Well, at 3 years old, I didn't say shit, but, I was in awe.
Yeah, I was,
What about you?
he did have no speaking part, I'm pretty sure. If he did, it was not much.
He said a couple words in, I believe it was the, shit, now I'm confused. I'm mixing them up. But I believe it was Empire Strikes Back. He just said a couple lines. That's it. Very minor.
Right. He wasn't someone major, but his presence alone is like, oh, who's this badass?
Exactly.
And obviously the fans took a liking to him, and he was put on, merchandise and
Comic
people
books.
talked about him. Comic Cons, people
spin-offs.
dress up.
Oh yeah, he's still. I mean, you've been to a lot more Comic Cons than I have. He's still one of the big costumes you see there. Is he not?
Yeah. It's always there'll at least be one person.
What yeah. What other costumes do you see at Comic Con for Star Wars?
Princess Leia.
Obvious. Do you see like Princess Leia with the white gown from A New Hope, or Slave Leia?
A slave, which is not in Empire Strikes Back, but
Return
of the Jedi. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to the comic book convention here in South Florida last summer, and I saw a few Leias from A New Hope with the white dress. I saw a few slave Leias, a few slave Leias that these women really shouldn't have been wearing the slave Leia costume. Nothing against sizes of all women. I like curvy women. Everybody has their own taste, but some of these were not like the body type of that Leia had in the movie.
Yeah.
Other costumes I see at conventions are I seen Luke's, a lot of Jedis like Obi-Wan or a couple of Qui-Gons, but a lot of Jedis, wearing the Jedi robe and putting the hoodie on their heads and the lightsabers. Those are the most common ones. Very rare do I see a stormtrooper. But the one that I did see was very detailed, very, very good looking stormtrooper as far as costume.
So besides Boba Fett, and we talked a little bit about Princess Leia here. Mm-hmm. She's not introduced in this movie, but she, obviously is a big thing in this movie.
Right.
We also have the planet Hoth. It's an ice planet, and on there when the rebellion gets attacked by the AT walkers, that's another new, I guess, vehicle or
AT walkers as they're known.
Yeah.
Yeah, that when I first saw that, I was like, holy shit. That was another holy shit moment for me.
Yeah, actually it was nice to see him in Rogue One recently.
Yeah. Even though maybe I'll just go into detail about that now. Seeing it in Rogue One, I know it was CGI. It didn't have the same look, obviously, but it just didn't feel the same as that stop motion animation. Maybe because I saw it so many times over and over on VHS growing up that I kind of like that jaggy, stop motion-y, if that's even a word, look. You follow me?
Yeah.
What I don't know if you have the same. I don't know which one do you prefer, the CGI one or the stop motion?
I mean, I like them both. The problem with the CGI sometimes is you can tell it's fake. I know the stop motion you kind of tell, but it feels like they put more work into it.
Right. Yeah.
So I think I could appreciate more of the stop animation one.
Maybe it's also because I grew up watching a lot of movies with stop motion. Well, we grew up in that era where we actually saw, the old technology being kind of waning down. And then the new technology, CGI, taking over.
So, besides the AT-AT walkers, you have Lando. This is also his introduction. He's working with Darth Vader for a little bit, and then he helps them escape because he basically Darth Vader took advantage of Lando, and he was friends with Han Solo, so
Yeah.
he helped him. And this is also has the famous scene, where I played it a little bit earlier, where Vader's revealing to Luke that he is the father.
Yeah, that was shocking. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah, and lastly, also, I mean, we already said it like twice, but Yoda, we didn't even go into too much detail about him. But obviously, his voice alone,
Here I am.
right? He's a small, I don't want to say a person. I don't know what he is, but
he's a
alien.
Yoda. Everybody knows. If they're listening, they know what the Yoda is.
Right, and he has a puppet in this one, and he doesn't do flips or backflips or any of that shit.
Well, he doesn't do that because he's over 900 years old. He's near his end of his life.
Yeah, but still, he's not some crazy. He's just this wise master who's teaching Luke. He knows the way of the Force. And
that's something that I personally liked about Yoda. I grew up watching a lot of samurai movies, and George Lucas he grew up himself watching. Star Wars was inspired by, I believe it was Sanjuro and Yojimbo, the Akira Kurosawa movies from the late 50s, early 60s. And so I know he likes Akira Kurosawa a ton. George Lucas even produced one of his movies in the mid 80s. So that Yoda had that very, Zen-like feel to it, very like a master. Obviously, he is a master Yoda. But do you get what I'm trying to say? He's like very samurai-ish in a way.
No, I got you. He's this teacher.
Yes.
And highly respected.
Highly respected. And just the way that he was introduced. He was only in that movie. Like, we don't see him again until the prequels. But in just the original trilogy, he wasn't in a lot of scenes. But the scenes he was in were memorable. And that's because, give it to the writing. They had an excellent writer, Lawrence Kasdan. And a couple other writers had credits, but it's just the writing of the movie, the whole scenery, the atmosphere of him in that planet of the Swamp Planet. It just amazing how they did all that.
So you just kind of mentioned it. Lucas, he was involved in terms of the story and being a producer.
Yes,
he was not the director. He was not the writer. And I think I'm pretty sure he only did that for 4, and 6 was someone else too.
It was somebody else, yeah.
Right, and then he goes. We don't see him again directing or writing till episode 1, which I'll talk about that later. But
oh yes, we
will. So it's kind of nice to. I think Lucas has a great mind. But I don't think he, to be honest, but I don't think he has the chops to be a highly acclaimed director or writer. We know for sure he can't write romance whatsoever.
Of course. Well, that's because I'll just mention in the prequels he was, I think, solely responsible for the writing. He wanted full control.
I'm pretty sure he directed too.
Yeah,
and I think he directed all 3.
He directed all 3 of the prequels. He got the only credit for writing episode 1 and 2. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, he actually had an outside writer help him co-write it. So maybe in my opinion, that's why I think episode 3 was the strongest out of that prequel trilogy, because he had outside help. But when he's just himself, alone, writing and directing, that's where things don't go so well. That's
yeah. Anyways, so this is we both love it. It's episode 5. So we kind of mentioned the prequels a lot. So, my next question is going to basically be about the least favorite or the worst episode. And I guess I'll start off with that one, and I'll say
yes. Go ahead.
For me, it was episode 1. Everybody's expecting Star Wars and it to be awesome. You saw the trailers and you're like, oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. I can't wait.
And at that point, now, how many years had it been since the gap of episode 3 I'm sorry, episode 3. Sorry, episode 1, Phantom Menace, and Return of the Jedi. Wasn't it like 17 years, 16 years?
Yeah, because the whole 90s we didn't get it,
So
and
it was 99 and 83. Yeah, 17.
okay.
Something
Yeah,
like
obviously,
that.
I don't even know why it took that long. But
He wanted I guess the effects to catch up.
that's what he says. But obviously, he didn't think about that one.
You don't agree with it? You don't agree with his explanation?
Just bullshit.
So explain. Go ahead. Continue.
Right. So
Episode 1,
1.
your least favorite.
Yeah. Let's talk about the 2 worst things, and then there's other things that are very important that also suck. But these 2 things are the worst things in this movie. Number 1, the fucking Anakin.
Oh,
That piece of shit
Anakin.
kid cannot act to save his life.
His name was Jake Loyster.
Yeah, that dude.
And
I
I
know
thi-
I saw him in a Comic
And I
Con.
think he must have heard you back then because he has really not acted since then.
Wow, what a surprise. Dude, there's just... I remember I saw a clip recently. I think he was asking about the Force or something, and the way he asked it was like, you just read this out of the paper right away. You had no acting in this sentence. Like, it didn't sound like he cared. It just sounded like he just read it. and you could tell his mom kind of gave this look.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking, she must be thinking this guy can't act kind of look. I wasn't thinking that she was actually reacting as a character, but as an actress. Anyways, he's the worst thing in this movie to me. When we saw the trailers back when they were talking about it, then they showed the kid, and we're like, "Oh, what the fuck is this?" Right? And then the second thing to me was Jar Jar Binks, and he obviously had tons of hatred. He did not like
Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, that asshole. He was comic relief. Yeah, he was just this comic relief character that was annoying, talked annoying, had no point to him really, and you could tell.
Didn't he have like a? Wasn't there like a big issue with him being racist? Like not him being racist, his character, but the actual things he was saying, people found it offensive. That's the word, offensive. And
Well,
they were pinning it to race.
I'm not aware of that.
It was a big issue back then. It was in not in social media because this is 1999. There was no Facebook. I don't even think MySpace was around or anything like that. It was just in the news and maybe newspapers and internet forums, websites would discuss it.
Okay. Well, I don't remember that part, but he was just an annoying character to me. He doesn't really play a part anymore in 2 and 3. He's doesn't do the comic relief stuff anymore, and for good reason. Everybody hated him. George Lucas, you can see like if you watch like scenes when he's like the making of episode 1, you could tell he's putting a lot of effort into it. He really loves Jar Jar Binks. He thinks Jar Jar Binks is money, but no, he's not. And then the story is not very clear to me. It's a boring start to the movie. I don't know what's happening. What the fuck is about this trading? No fucking clue.
Yeah, some politics that George Lucas decided to include about trade federation and.
I suppose it's a movie for kids. That just whatever.
Well, it's for he also has to appeal to the grown-ups, to the people that are now, adults.
Yeah, but a kid's gonna be bored when they're talking to the Senate or.
I agree with you.
About this
he did stay too long on that topic, and that's what was fucking annoying and boring. Because even as an adult, I've seen it recently as an adult. I still get bored of that part in that scene. Whenever they mention that shit.
Yeah, it's all boring, and then the characters are boring too. None of them are memorable. I think it's just Darth Maul I get to remember the most, and he didn't do shit but fight.
Darth Maul was a pretty cool villain. At least,
yeah,
his presence was cool. The design.
Yeah, Yeah, he's kind of like we just talked about Boba Fett. That's what basically happened here with Darth Maul. He's basically the next Boba Fett. He looks cool.
Yeah.
He fights. He has a presence to him, and that's it. He's not that important to the story. He just fights the Jedi and dies. It's not like he caused anything to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, he does kill Qui-Gon, but even he didn't really matter too much to me.
Let's go to Qui-Gon. So Qui-Gon is played by the great Liam Neeson. Now, I watch a lot of films, as you guys can tell. I believe that his role, Qui-Gon in The Phantom Menace, started the trend of Liam Neeson playing like a figure of being a master, like a badass, kind of like a father figure, master figure, that kind of figure. Because he did it again in a few movies after that.
He has the voice for it.
Right.
I mean, in this movie, he has the voice for it. But he's really boring. I don't care about him. He dies. Oh, boo-hoo. I don't care. Finally, you killed a boring Jedi. Basically, that's what I was thinking. There was no reason for me to care when he died. I was like, okay.
As a person in high school, when I saw it, I cared. Not a great deal like freaking Yoda. When Yoda died, I fucking cried. I mean, sometimes to this day, as an adult,
someone like Yoda dies.
Yeah,
you cry.
As an adult, I watch it. I don't break out in tears, but I get emotional still to this day when Yoda dies.
If you could put emotion behind the character, a reason to
It did
care
its
for
job.
them,
Yeah.
then cool. But otherwise, it's like whatever.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of emotion when Qui-Gon died. Not a lot. Or none in your case.
Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. He just dies.
And what'd you think of Oh
Like
shit!
that.
Here we go. What do you What about Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, young Obi-Wan?
He just complained a lot.
Yeah. That was quickly fixed in Attack of the Clones. There was not a lot of complaining there, but from him.
Yeah, but he tried to become the mentor. I never got the sense that he was really wise and
That's
that
the
great.
word I was looking for, mentor. Liam Neeson plays the mentor figure a lot in movies after The Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he does, but it's just this character was boring to me, and he didn't do much to me. So I talked a bunch about episode 1, and that was my least favorite. What's your least favorite?
Do I even have to say the same shit that you said? Episode 1.
I thought episode 3 was your least favorite.
No. I mentioned a few minutes ago that episode 3 is the best in the prequel. But it's not
Why did you even think 3 was the best?
Oh, do you want me to go into that, or you want me to go into episode 1? Why it's my least favorite?
Okay, fine. Finish up your episode 1, and then we'll
go to episode 3.
talk about the shit of episode 3, just because
The shit.
I want to know why you even liked it.
Okay, so episode 1, pretty much you hit a lot of the points. Jar Jar was, even watching it when I was in high school, I didn't like him. I did not. Didn't like his look. Didn't like his voice. Didn't like anything. Like literally when he stepped on shit and when they were in Tatooine, I was like, yeah, good, step on shit because you are shit.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. I did not, and that's just Jar Jar. Anakin, the Jake Lloyd who plays Anakin. Yeah, I've seen a lot of movies with kids, as of you and as of sure listeners. There's a lot of kids younger than him, and maybe even his age. I think he was 9 or 10 at the time he was filming that movie, that act so much better than him. Like
you would say,
like light years better than him.
So you would say,
I would say
very
bad. It's just some people are, I guess maybe they're meant. Acting is something that is meant for them, but something happened because he just quit acting. Maybe he couldn't take the criticism. Or
no, he never quit. He never quit acting. He never acted.
Oh, well, whatever. Stupid. You son of a bitch. His IMDb credit, there's really no major credits after that.
Yeah.
IMDb. So I didn't like that. What else didn't I like? We already discussed the Trade Federation politics in that movie. That was just stupid. And I like politics. I'll watch a good political thriller, but that movie, George Lucas had to stay the fuck away from that. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. What other things? I'll say this. I'll say the only thing. I'll go into what I liked. The only thing I liked was the pod race scene, and that was in the marketing. That was put front and center. Maybe the marketing department knew, like, oh shit, we got a shitty ass Star Wars movies. Let's focus on the pod race scene in the fucking trailers. Because literally, a lot of the trailers showed just the pod race scene, and it lasted like what, 5 minutes on film, almost.
That
to
a little
me,
bit more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that to me was the most memorable scene in that movie. If I would at times when it was released on, well, that was the early days of DVD. I would just skip to that scene, watch it here and there, and then take it off. Turn off the movie.
That shows you something right there. So in the end, in the beginning, they'll focus about this war.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow this war matters. You don't see why it matters, really.
Right.
But we care more, instead of this war, we care about this pod race.
Right.
There's something at stake, freedom. So we kind of care. This war that happens throughout the whole rest of the movie,
right?
No one gives a fuck.
Because he was a slave at that point, Anakin. So he had to do the pod race. I mean, I should have seen the movie before, but recently. But that's what I remember. One thing that shit, I was gonna mention something about the movie. Now it completely left me.
Why Qui-Gon also uses Jedi mind tricks to fool somebody for his own personal
metachlorians. They talk about, Qui-Gon tells him, you have a high metachlorian count. What the? Nobody had ever known what the fuck a metachlorian was. It was never, at that point, I don't even think it was hinted in the comic books or novels or anything. And George Lucas gives us the metachlorian shit, and it's never mentioned again. I don't even think in episode 2 or 3. I was like, what the fuck is that? And
I do know they mentioned it in episode 3, but I don't. It's not very
well.
much.
It's complete. It's kind of ignored in the new one, in the Force Awakens. Like.
Oh yeah, they ignore that completely.
They ignore that shit. Like metachlorians. Like that was the most ridiculous thing. He could have explained it better if he was trying to go with some kind of mystical.
No. Fuck the explaining.
But it was just stupid.
The Force is supposed to be mysterious.
Yeah, there's no explanation for it. It just happens.
It just needs it has a mystique. Leave it alone. You just ruined it by doing that. Yeah, that's great. That's another thing I forgot to mention.
A high metachlorian count. I think for some reason 20,000 or close to 19,000 comes to mind. I'm like, okay, so what does everybody else have? they never go into detail about that.
Yeah,
but it was just a lot of plot holes. It was just shitty writing. George Lucas, he wrote the script himself. It was just shitty.
Right. So then tell me what you even liked about episode 3.
So episode 3, here's the what I like is that this is the setup. This is how Anakin turns or becomes Darth Vader. So I liked how the setup was, even though we were seeing it, they were hinting it in episode 1 and 2, mostly episode 2, kind of, but it's
not even hinted at. Like right away in episode 3, he's an asshole. He's also dressed up all in black and everything. Exactly. He's already an asshole.
Well, there
it's
you
like
go.
What convincing do you need here? He's not seduced to the dark side. He's already in the dark side.
So he's already in that. What else did I like about? I mean, that's one thing that I liked about it. I just like that you got to see what was always talked about in the comic books and the novels, the famous battle with Anakin and Obi-Wan. The battle was good. Towards the climactic battle, it was
that fight was way too long. It was boring. It looked so unrealistic. It was too over the top. It sucked.
Well, that's your opinion, sir.
The only part I liked is when he burns.
As bad.
That's about it.
So when he burns and melts half his body.
It's like if you could have done like a minute of intense fighting and then have done that, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, remember that when they fought again, which is episode 4, it was none of this shit we saw right now. I don't know how long this fight scene was. But
I don't remember it being that long. It must have on film. It must have lasted like maybe minimum less than 10 minutes, but I could be wrong.
No, I think it lasted more than 10 minutes. It was like ridiculous stuff. They would like surf on the lava and
Oh well,
climb the
you're talking
shit
about all
and
that
all the-
stuff, to him jumping around and trying to get to Obi-Wan or vice versa. Then yeah, that's a little long than it should have taken.
It was like, oh, we're gonna show off the CGI effects we have instead of putting some emotion to it. When Vader and and Obi-Wan fought in Episode 4, there was emotion to that. And here it's like, here's $1 billion in effects.
Yeah, seriously. But
Now go on and explain to me why else you like this horrible movie.
what else did I like the horrible movie? That is all I can think of right now.
Okay,
the kids.
I think this is the only
they killed
Star Wars movie.
They killed Jedi kids. No, I'm
There
kidding.
you go. Yeah,
They do, but that's not why I liked it. I was just,
Well, this is the only Star Wars movie that is PG-13.
not the only one. It was the first one. Force Awakens is PG-13 as well, sir.
Was it?
Yep, and Rogue One as well.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so it's the first one.
I corrected you. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Help each other out. It was the first one, yes. Because of his subject matter of Anakin
The
going
murder.
and killing the kids, and Obi-Wan, not Obi-Wan. The fuck am I talking? Yeah, Obi-Wan, being upset at Anakin, all that shit.
Yeah. Well, so this movie to me was another one with full of plot holes, full of reasons not to care for things.
Well, my point
Like,
was, out of the prequel trilogy,
They're all
yeah, but if you had to pick the number one shit,
No,
they're
when I take a
equal.
shit, it's the same shit the
they're
next day.
equal- they're equal shit to you. Like you're basically taking the same shit on each movie,
Yeah, I'm taking a dump on all of them.
the same dump.
Yeah.
Not one, there's not an episode that in that prequel trilogy that you take a little bit more of a couple more dumps than the other one.
I wouldn't rewatch any of them. I'd rather just forget about those movies.
A lot of people have, sir. A lot of people have.
Yeah, and Disney's ignoring it, so it's good.
They're not praising it, but they own it. It's part of their canon.
Just to mention a few things I hated about it. General Grievous, he was in the beginning of the movie. What the fuck is he doing? Who is he? Never explained. He's a general. We know that because of his name.
Wait, wasn't he in Attack of the Clones?
Wasn't it in the cartoon?
Describe him. Isn't he a robot?
He's like a robot with like 4 arms.
Yeah, he was in Attack of the Clones. He fought in the beginning of that movie. Are
you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive, dude. I'm sure he was in episode 3, but just
Yeah, he was because he was big point.
yeah, but he was in Attack of the Clones, episode 2.
Huh. Oh, you're right. Actually, you're right. First appearance, Clone Wars.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember what he did much.
He
in
had
that movie.
a big scene in the animated series, the Clone Wars as well.
But see, that's a problem with this dude. Okay, he was in episode 2, and I don't remember. He's not memorable. Besides having 4 arms and using 4 lightsabers,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the character himself. Like, why did I care about him? Besides looking cool with the 4 lightsabers. What was the whole plan? I know they were there to still save Palpatine, but it felt like a big filler. Okay, you're saving him. He kills Dooku. Like, it felt too. There was too many questions. I was like, okay, how they find out about this, and who's that guy, and murder. Anakin's supposed to be, a Jedi who's going to get seduced, but he's not seduced. He's already killing somebody.
Right.
And also the fact that the Emperor he was already pretty. When you saw him in the movie, you could just tell this guy's evil. But nobody really took a while to figure out, oh, that's a Sith Lord. It just made everybody look stupid. I know in the movie they were saying like, oh, we're clouded by something. But even without the Force, you could just tell this guy looks fishy.
By the Sith?
Yeah, he's asking questions too that he shouldn't even know. Like stuff about the Sith and the Jedi. It seems like he knows a lot about that stuff. And to me, that's just kind of raised red flags too. Also, when Samuel Jackson goes to attack him, he does it in private, and that's when Anakin, backstabs and kills Samuel L. Jackson. I even forget the name of his character.
Mace Windu.
Oh, there you go. I was why didn't he attack him in public? Then he would have exposed. Because then he would have fought back, and then boom, he's exposed as a Sith. He didn't do that.
Maybe he wanted to be sneaky.
I thought the whole thing was about Vader turning bad, but he just felt bad already, and he just does these questionable things all the time. I never felt like it was a good turn with him. I think that's actually, to be honest, that's the major thing with me. Yeah, this is the movie you're supposed to see him turn into a bad guy. I just felt like he was already a bad guy, and I think that should have been a crucial point in the story where he had to make a choice. Maybe he had foreshadow a little bit, but this guy was just an asshole right from the beginning, and he looked bad right from the beginning. So that's the thing I didn't like about this movie.
Fascinating shit, sir.
Yeah. So how about we talk about the next episode, episode 8?
There's not a lot that we know of episode 8. We just saw a 2-minute teaser.
Right, but based off what we saw in 7, what would you like to see happen, or what do you want answered?
Well, I think I mentioned this before, but I would. Okay, so episode 7, it was not a lot of people love it. It made a ton of money worldwide. It's a good movie, but it's not my favorite best. You know, it just repeated a lot of what we saw in A New Hope, and I understand what they did there. I hope, I'm hoping that they don't repeat the patterns of the original trilogy, just for a new generation. That wouldn't make sense at all. So I want episode 8 to be completely refreshing. That's the main thing. Hopefully they deliver on that. We'll find out in December. I would like to see, hopefully from the get-go of the movie, the explanation as to who Rey's parents are. I don't want them to drag it on. Maybe, reveal it within the first act. I don't want to wait to the second or the third act of the movie. That's to me, they're just milking it at that point. That's something that has to be addressed from the get-go. First act.
I don't think it has to be. It could be the thread of the whole movie, and there's a reason for it. And
Sir,
I don't know what it's going to be, but
it makes sense because they already you're curious to find out who her parents are, who she's related to. Because as in we found out who Luke's father was in Empire Strikes Back, we should find out who her parents are in this sequel to this new trilogy.
Yeah, but that happened in the very end of the movie.
True. That's why I prefer. You're asking me. I prefer it in the first act. So that's one thing I want addressed. I want more of the. Boyega's character. That's the actor's name. I forgot his character's name. The guy who was a stormtrooper and then he turned. He went rogue.
Finn.
What's his character's name?
Finn.
I want more of him explained. If they can explain. Maybe a little bit of his backstory. Yeah, some backstory. That's the word. Backstory. I want some of that. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Just maybe even hints. A couple of hints I'll take because he's not the main focus of this story. Even though he's a main character, it's all about Rey. Rey is the character that's carrying this new trilogy. I also want to see more of Poe Dameron, played by Oscar Isaac, that pilot. He has like a very Han Solo-ish kind of vibe, but not too similar to Han Solo. So I want to see more of him in the film, and obviously Mark Hamill. He obviously we didn't. He himself was shocked. He didn't know that he had no spoken lines in the movie, in The Force Awakens. So I want him to be a big center focus in The Last Jedi. I mean, I've always been a fan of Luke, and I just want to see him in full Jedi badass motherfucker mode.
Yeah, the whole title, The Last Jedi, I guess, does that You mean Luke?
That maybe it could be.
Does he die?
Maybe he doesn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
we'll see.
maybe it's in referencing that he is training Rey to be the last Jedi, and he survives.
Well, then she could train somebody else, and there'll be 2 Jedi.
No, because then the title shouldn't be called the Last Jedi.
Yeah, that title is kind of weird. What, does Rey die and Luke is the last Jedi?
Right.
And then he dies.
We don't know.
And then there's no more Jedi. And the series ends.
Yeah. So those are my major things that I want addressed in the Last Jedi.
For me, I do want.
I want to make it clear, if they don't address him, then if they do something better or something that works, I might be okay with that, but we'll see.
Yeah, one thing you didn't mention, which he was in episode 7, but very mysterious. We don't know too much about him. I'd like to know more about him, which is Supreme Leader Snook.
Snoke or Snook, whatever.
Snooky, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
So I want the Supreme Leader Snooky.
Snooky. It's not Snooky. You're making it sound like the Jersey Shore.
No, I'm doing that on purpose.
Oh, okay.
So Snooky here, I would like to know more about him. Is he from New Jersey? I don't know. Is he from Hoth? Is he, he was born on the sun? Like, give me something about him. And why is he doing this stuff? And I also kind of wonder who he really is, because all we've seen is like a hologram,
Right.
and like a giant hologram too.
Is he only 2 feet tall? Is he 2 inches tall? What is he?
Is he a giant? It doesn't even look like that. Maybe he looks totally different. Maybe he's like a dragon that breathes red lightning or something.
Yeah.
Because some people had the theory that he was Darth Plagueis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So Darth Plagueis was referenced in the shit movie we just talked about, episode 3. Because just to remind people, in episode 3, the Emperor tells Anakin about, there was this Sith that was able to revive the dead. So he was basically luring him to join him, so they could learn that technique, and he could bring back his wife that he knows is going to die, or she might have been dead at that point. I forget. So that's when he's referenced. So this guy could bring back the dead, or heal you, whatever. Basically, he has the ability to he has the ability to keep people from dying. I think it's reviving the dead. It was kind of, to me, a little weird. But basically, that's how he lured him. You could save your wife.
Right.
Or bigger back, I forget. But yeah. And so people were thinking he was gonna be Darth Plagueis, but Supreme Leader Jersey Shore Snooky didn't. Maybe it's not him, or maybe it is him. Now, someone said that Darth Plagueis is dead. Someone, I forget the guy's name, who works for Lucasfilm. I think he's kind of one of the people who keeps the lore in check and consistent. And he has I forget his Twitter account, but he went ahead and told people, because he got asked about this theory, and he was saying, no, Plagueis died. He was killed by the Emperor. Like, Emperor.
That to me kind of fits in line with the Emperor's character of why he would kill him, because he doesn't want anybody else to. He wants to be the only one to have control.
Well, that's the whole thing about the Sith too. To become the master, you have to kill him.
Yeah.
That's the way of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sidious killed his master, which is Plagueis. And this whole thing that Sidious is like, I'll save your wife Padme, Anakin, but he doesn't know how to do it, or maybe he does. I don't think he does. But he kills him, and I guess this technique is lost. Either way, the dude's dead. Now, unless they're kind of lying to us, maybe he revives himself. Or,
I didn't see his funeral, weird. Sir. I want to see.
Huh?
I didn't see his funeral.
Exactly. Like he's just mentioned. We never see anything. So I guess in the end they could explain something different, or something happened that we didn't see. I guess the theory is not totally dead, but I think it's mostly dead because of this guy from Lucasfilm saying this.
Mm-hmm.
But
So what?
Mhm.
What would you like to see in that new film?
I like to see Snoke as like maybe it's actually Luke.
You would like to see Snoke be revealed as Luke?
Yeah,
How is that logical?
we haven't seen him in a long time. He hid away. Maybe he's like fuck the world and he's tricking everybody, and then he's gonna kill them all.
Well, what would be his fucking purpose of training Rey in the Force? Why wouldn't he train her in the dark side instead? And Rey would see that and then choose, have a decision whether she continues with this training or escapes.
Maybe Luke knows how to use the dark side and the light side. Like he is like in betweener, but more of a Sith, I guess. But he could use both abilities and knows
You mean
both
like
arts.
like his father, Anakin?
Kind of, yeah.
Because Anakin was trained in both.
Right, and this is go back to like comic books and backstory. But there are Jedi who do know both, and they tend to be more powerful than just someone who just masters in one. So he could have train Rey, and then she eventually takes over, kills him or whatever, and then she's the last Jedi.
Interesting. So he's training you. You want Luke to train Rey in the Force, and then it's revealed that he is Supreme Leader Snoke, and then Rey has to fight Snoke in the last movie of the trilogy.
No, it could just all be done in this episode. And then yourself, who the fuck is the good guy?
You're throwing some weird ass fucking shit in there.
Kylo Ren. He's the good guy. And he becomes the good guy in episode 9 that you cheer for, that fights Rey and kills her.
So you want him to kill Rey?
Hey, it's a total.
I
didn't expect this.
It is very unexpected. I just don't see Disney and Lucasfilm going on that route. They would piss off. You know how many people would be pissed off at that shit?
Awesome. You hate him. He's the bad guy.
That's
Luke.
something that could
You're
be
like,
done.
I love Luke.
That's something
I
that could be
trusted
done
him.
on TV. TV is a very a risky format in this past decade. A lot of things happen now, but for a film, a lot of films don't take those big risks. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I sort of see where you're going with this. I just don't see it being done in a big budget Disney blockbuster movie.
Why not? People will be talking about it.
If they do it, they do it. I mean, it's shit.
I mean, imagine people
if you
want
to bet money on it, I'll bet money on it right now. But I don't see it happening.
Imagine it in episode 8. Fucking Luke is bad, kills people. He is the evil mastermind. People will flip their minds.
Everybody has to have a reason. What would be his reason to go that?
Give us some story. Why did he go hide away?
So you haven't filled in that gap. You just want somebody else to fill in that gap. Why he went away in hiding?
I'm sure you can come up with something creative
for almost 30 years. Okay.
Yeah. Why did he hide?
I was hoping that you had that all planned out, sir.
No, I mean, if Disney wants to pay me, I'll do it.
No, Disney's not gonna pay you, but maybe you can get some independent studio to give you money and do like a spin-off, a what if.
Then Disney will still want money anyway. It's their license.
Well, that's true. You would have to fight the Disney lawyers.
That's okay. I'll tell Disney my idea and they'll hire me.
Yes. This reminds me. This might be another episode, but we got to go into that $1 trillion ninja movie that you and I have talked about for years.
Yeah. Just before we talk about that ninja movie, make this even better.
What is it?
Because people have talked about it. I mentioned it before. Let's say Luke does have an apprentice already, and Rey has to kill him.
Okay.
And it's Darth Jar Jar Binks.
Get the fuck out of here. Now I know you're playing with shit because my brother read the recent Star Wars book that came out a couple months ago, and and it's canon. It's part of the Disney Star Wars universe. It does go into detail what happens to Jar Jar. So don't get the fuck out of here with that.
Yeah, he becomes Sith.
Get the fuck out of here. That was a big rumor at one point. I mean, I remember reading
I
that.
don't think it's a rumor. It was just someone made it up, and they're like, "Oh, that would have actually made people like him."
Mm.
You don't think so?
Nah, man. No fucking way. What the fuck is that?
No, I'm just messing around.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I it's a crazy idea, but whatever. I know they won't do that. I'm just joking around, but I'm actually kind of serious about Luke being
the
the
mastermind.
villain here. Yeah, that he's Snooky.
I'm not saying that it's not possible. It's a slim chance, but
I think the chance is low, but I'm just saying that would make the movie pretty interesting to me.
it would be interesting.
They got people talking.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be talking, all right.
It'll be trending on Twitter.
Yeah, man. And this film, it will be the last time we see Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia. Seeing as how she passed away earlier this year. Well, no, December. Yeah, a few months ago. So
Yeah, they said. I know they've said already they're not going to use
they
CGI.
first hinted that maybe we'll use some footage or something. Then there was a rumor that they're going to CGI her like they CGI'd the actor in Rogue One. But then the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, officially said a couple weeks ago that she will not appear in Episode 9.
Yeah,
Assuming they're writing, I don't think they finalized the script for Episode 9 yet. So they'll probably write her character out somehow. Maybe make it, her character dies in Episode 9.
yeah. I guess we'll see. I don't know.
It makes no sense if they if she is Leia, nobody else would play her or can play her. That's what the route that I would go. If I was the writer and Disney hired me, I would have her character killed. Pay kind of like respectfully and move on.
Yeah, just blow her up.
Or sacrifice her. She sacrifices something. She gets in the way of an explosion or gunfire. I mean, not gunfire, blaster fire.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But at that point, they would have to CGI. They would still have to CGI somebody because she's, not with us. So if they're gonna show her, that's where I don't know why Kathleen would say, "Oh, she won't appear in it." That still leaves a lot unexplained. Like they just mention that she's dead off screen, and they move on.
Yeah. No, we'll see.
I mean, we got to see Han Solo die. It only makes sense to see Princess Leia die.
Well, she did.
Of course, she's not a princess. I mean, Leia.
She's like a general or something.
Yeah, general.
She's General Grievous.
Oh, there you go. The plot thickens. So what else do you got to say about the Last Jedi?
Well, I think we hit everything, and we can move on to our next topic.
Besides that, before we go on, since we're on a Star Wars theme, do you have any favorite Star Wars video games? Since we also mentioned video games quite a lot.
I'm drawing a blank on the name.
What system?
The Knights of the Old Republic. I like that one.
Oh, the RPG on the PC and Xbox?
Yeah, I played it on PC. I never finished it, actually.
That was a good series.
It's a long game, but I liked it.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the first one. The second one, it wasn't terrible. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't... I never finished the second one. I also like the the Shadow of the Empire, the one that they did on the Nintendo 64. A lot of people might not pick it as their favorite, but I like that one a lot.
Is it that the one that's they're only on the ship, or do you actually go out and?
No, you play third person view, third character. I forgot the character's name now. It takes place during The Empire Strikes Back and before Return of the Jedi. Han Solo is in it for a bit. He's like he knows Han Solo somehow. It was a good game. You guys can look it up. Shadow of the Empire for Nintendo 64. I'm not watching any of the animated series like the Rebels that are on now. My brother knows more about that.
Yeah, honestly, I have not watched any of that.
Not even the Clone Wars?
Nothing.
Damn, sir. So, what is next, sir? Talk to me. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Javier and I saw it this weekend. And we're going to talk about it right now for a bit. This is going to be a spoilerish or spoiler-filled review. So if you haven't seen it and you do not want spoilers, you can stop the recording now and come back to this recording after you watch it. Or if you don't give a shit about spoilers, then continue listening. So, I fucking loved the movie. I thought it was... It kept the same fun... You know, like it reminded me like of a Saturday morning cartoon kind of feel where the characters are just goofy, having fun. It's not to be taken serious movie. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. Even from the beginning of the intro, the intro was to me fucking fantastic. It was just like it felt like a freaking cartoon that you're come to life. Like the whole when the camera's sweeping in. While focusing on Baby Groot, while the characters are battling in the background. I remember watching things like that in animated form growing up, and I finally got to see it in a live action film. So I thought that was neat. One thing that focusing on talking about Baby Groot was that, okay, so in the beginning, in the intro, the camera's always on him. And I'm thinking, are they doing this for marketing reasons? To focus and sell Baby Groot toys? I know Disney, and that's typically what Disney wants to do, but at first that's what I thought, but then after a while I'm like thinking, you know what, he's so fucking adorable, like I don't mind them shoving Baby Groot down our throats throughout the whole movie. Like literally I could watch a whole movie about Baby Groot. That's how fucking cute he is. And going into the rest of the cast, everybody was back. Chris Pratt, all the characters are back. The chemistry's still there. Drax is another character that I was laughing. I don't know about you, Javier. Did he have you on the floor laughing?
Yeah, he still has the same comedy style from the first one, which is just being brutally honest.
Yeah.
And the stuff he was doing with Mantis, that was hilarious.
That was funny. What was it that he called her? He's like, you're hideous?
Yeah, disgusting.
And she felt like hurt. And he's like, it's the truth. You're hideous.
Well, when Gamora came around, she's like, oh, I learned today I was hideous. And something else, I forget.
Yeah.
But she said it with a smile.
Yeah. Mantis was hilarious too. I like those characters. I mean, she's a new character, but it was a great introduction for her. And Dave Bautista, I think he's been in a lot of other movies. He's not the greatest of actor. Most people, if you guys are listening, don't know who he is. He started off in wrestling. He did MMA for a while as well, and then he
never actually did it. He trained for it. He never did
trained for it. Okay, but he was basically in films as like the background henchman, like the muscle guy in a lot of other movies. So
the Bond scene in
the last Bond movie, Spectre.
Yeah.
He was like that. He's been in a lot of other. He started off in a lot of WWE or direct to DVD movies, but in this film he actually acts and his acting, at least for his character, to me is fucking perfect. Like I could watch a movie of just Drax as well. Like literally, these characters are so good, at least for me, that they could watch they could spin off each character, and I'll watch all the movies. That's how much I love these characters.
Well, I think they will do a spin-off with Stallone.
I hope they do. I mean, I wanted to know more about Stallone. He's only in the movie like 5 minutes total screen time.
Yeah, So I want to get into more in the movie then.
Yeah, go into it. Tell me what you thought of it from the beginning. I mean, from the introduction, what did you think of that? Since I talked about it.
I mean, to me, it was a typical opening. I mean, I like the shot that they focus on Groot, and everybody else is fighting. I was kind of wanted to see the fight, but at the same time, it was funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was well done. Like, it was funny because you want to see the fight. You see part of it, but the whole time the camera is on Groot, and Groot is just dancing around the whole, what is it, like a 3-minute introduction.
Yeah, and so the rest of the movie was basically, most of it was character development. They focused a lot on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like, maybe mid-through or more than mid-through, I'm like, man, there's no villain yet. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's probably Ego then. Because they spent time on him, but yet they haven't told us what he's going to do.
Yes.
So I figured Ego was going to be the villain, and eventually, because I'm like, just spending all this time on characters, which is a great change, because Marvel movies are usually pretty weak on that.
Right.
Because lately they've been just focusing on fighting and getting to the point of the soul gems, or...
I don't know about you, but I suspected something was up with Ego when Mantis was hesitant to speak about it when Gamora confronted her.
Right. And, I mean, this is his fucking name. Ego.
Yeah.
He has an ego.
Exactly.
But, yeah, so... I actually liked it a lot. This is also probably the second villain that's ever have a background and they spent time on.
Right.
Because the only other one we talked about it before was Loki.
Now, this is something I want to get into. Did you like Ego as the villain in this film? Like, compared to the villain in Ronan, who was the villain in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, did you like Ego more than Ronan, or what was your thoughts?
I mean, they barely spent time on Ronan. Anytime we saw him, he was just angry and following orders from Thanos. So we didn't get too much out of him.
Uh-huh.
Ego, we actually got quite a bit out of him. It also helps that he's linked to one of the characters. So we know, Star-Lord wanted to know who his father was, and here he is, and they're spending time. Mm-hmm. When they were playing catch, that was funny and cute. Because, Star-Lord mentioned earlier that he wanted to play catch with his dad.
Right.
Which is something else about this movie. Not to get off topic too much. It's just the fact that they linked a lot of stuff. Like, it felt like just one person wrote the script and that's it. There wasn't like a ton of input or some. Like, it was just so. It flowed very well and a lot of things connected.
Yeah, I agree. I like the writing in this movie a lot. James Gunn wrote the first Guardians and this one as well, and his writing
and he's directing it too.
Yeah, he's directing it, so he has a lot of control, and the characters just flow well. It feels very, like, even though the movie is very silly, it's also fun, and it has at least with the characters, it feels realistic. It feels like a bunch of people that we saw in the first movie who didn't get along, who hated each other. Now they're, it's been a couple years, and they've grown up, they've grown together. Yeah, they're like a family. But like as family is in real life, there's bickering. There's times things can get confrontational. But in the end, since you're friends and family, you resolve it and you keep moving on. And that's what I like about the characters in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Well, we kind of went off topic again, but Ego. Yeah. So I like him.
It's still the movie.
Yeah. No, so I did like him.
Now,
in the very beginning, when he was going that plant thing, I'm like, oh, what's this? What's this? What's going on here? What's the motivation here? Why is he growing shit on planets? Well, on Earth. So I suspected something from that, but it wasn't like, oh, he's bad. But after a while, like I said, it was like, okay, he has to be the villain because they haven't focused on anybody. Mm-hmm. Unless all of a sudden, someone just shows up like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Besides, yeah, so he was the villain. That was great, and I guess they weren't the villains, but they were there a lot. Was the Sovereign?
The gold
Those
people.
are the gold people, completely in gold, and they had those remote controlled ships like a video game.
Yeah,
They were
like a drone, like the military has nowadays. That pilots, they're not in planes; they're just drones.
but when they went to the to control room, they hadn't even had video game noises and stuff.
Oh yeah,
it was
that
obviously
was
like an
hilarious.
arcade or something for them.
Yeah, that was good.
And I was like, yeah, I like that. I like the. There was a lot of actually video game references. Like I mentioned, when Star-Lord turned to Pac-Man
And to
later on.
Pac-Man, that was fucking hilarious. The whole auditorium at the cinema was cracking up when that shit happened. Oh gosh, here we go with the Pac-Man noise.
Exactly. So, anyways, the Sovereign were. This is a little different from the comic books. The main character, the leader. I forget how to pronounce it. Aisha.
Ayesha?
Yesha.
Something like that.
I'm really bad with pronouncing. I think people would have noticed by now. Anyways, she's like the leader. She's the what do they call her? Like the high priestess.
Yeah, they reference her as a high priestess.
Yeah, her origins are different from the actual comic books. She was created in the image of Adam Warlock. I guess she has blonde hair and her skin is kind of like Adam Warlock's. I always thought it was a tan, not a gold, but whatever. That's fine with me. And we didn't see her really do show off any kind of powers like in the comic books. Because in the comic books, she's kind of your usual cosmic entity with like energy blasting powers and super strength and flying and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was no mentions of that. Also, her and Adam Warlock's. We mentioned Adam Warlock because later on he'll be in the after credits. Both of them were created from Earth
by some scientists. I know with her it was the Enclave scientist.
Yeah, it's the same people.
Okay.
And so it's all different, which is fine. To me, that was kind of weak. I don't remember. I do remember Adam Warlock in the comic books slightly, but her I don't remember too much about. So I had to go back and read about this stuff.
Personally, I like that they didn't stick to that and say, "Oh, Earth had any hand in the movie." I like that they're keeping it away from Earth. They did reference Earth. We do see a screenshot of Earth when that big blue grayish glob starts coming out of the ground. But that's the only time we ever see Earth. And we see a lot of other worlds referenced, the worlds that Ego had visited. So I like that they didn't focus on Earth. They keep it away from that.
Yeah, so I mean, he was also on Earth when he met his
mother. Yeah.
But yeah. So they changed the origins. Which was fine with me. And more cosmic, more different amount of space. That makes more sense than a bunch of scientists in the lab on Earth. So she was kind of funny. I think in this movie was funny, which got a little annoying, but not annoying as in I was off.
You think it was overdone?
I think that's what I'm trying to say. It's more overdone. Like every time there was something serious, something funny. Like when
I didn't find it.
Yondu, was it Yondu? I can't remember.
Yeah, Yondu. Yeah,
Yondu. When he dies, they put like a little toy by the funeral from the casket. And, well, it wasn't a casket next to his body.
Wait a minute, Yondu dies?
Yeah. You said this was gonna be spoiler.
Yeah, I know, spoiler filled.
Yeah, but just to get back to her, she like when she went to visit the Ravagers, what they're called. She had that little blue carpet rolled out for her.
Yeah, that was funny.
So,
I found it funny.
Yeah. So I don't know if we were supposed to take them serious or not. I don't think we ever really did. But whatever, they fulfilled their purpose in the movie, and I liked them, and they were very recognizable. They were all freaking gold.
Yeah.
So besides that, who was another introduced character? We said Mantis.
Mantis was introduced.
Yeah, her power is kind of cool. She gets to know what you're feeling and could affect your emotional state.
Yeah, I like that in that scene when she's describing the feelings of Peter Quill and Drax.
Yeah, and Drax shined in that scene. He was
Mhm.
just his brutal honesty, just laughing and stuff.
That's the thing. Dave Bautista, he needs to stick with Marvel or stick with James Gunn. And James Gunn, if he does other movies outside of the Marvel universe, he needs to fucking have Dave Bautista in it. Like I think he knows how to get Dave Bautista to shine. I've never seen him shine in anything besides the Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
I haven't watched the Bond movie, but I thought he
He didn't
good
do
in
anything
that.
in the Bond movie. He's just a goon, a henchman. That's it.
Yeah, but he didn't like impress you at all.
As he's menacing and scary in Bond, that's it.
Yeah, I mean that was the purpose of the character.
Yeah, that's it. That's all he does. Typical Bond henchman.
Yeah, so I like Mantis. She fulfilled her purpose too, and she kind of reminds you of Batista. Well, Drax a little bit because she has some kind of disconnect with emotions.
Right.
I don't say Drax is disconnected. He's just he's way brutally honest.
He's very blunt. They
Yeah.
can't they're just honest.
Lie.
Yeah, they're not meant to
There's
lie.
something's there with the emotions or
Yeah.
connecting with people. That problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think who else? I think that's mostly all the new characters. I mean, there's minor ones like Taserface.
What were your thoughts on the main characters like Rocket?
Yeah, basically what we saw in the first movie. They expanded on them a little bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rocket. They went to his emotional state a lot.
That's what I
Yondu really
like.
provoked that
Mm-hmm.
because they're basically we're the same, and I liked that a lot. And we
I
got to
did
see
too.
Rocket shine a few times with like the traps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Groot was basically the most useless member of the team till the very end when he had his moment.
Right. I think that I kind of felt that they were kind of building on that because they were like, "Oh, he's useless," and then him and Drax had like they had a confrontation more or less throughout the whole movie because when every time that Drax showed up, Groot was just angry at him. I found that hilarious.
Yeah,
Like,
when I
they
say
didn't
useless, I just mean like he didn't add to the fights.
Well, he's only
even
5 inches
when
tall.
they're in prison, he couldn't really help them.
Yeah, he's only 5 inches tall.
But he was cute and funny throughout the whole movie, so he was always very entertaining. He probably was one of those characters that stole the movie.
Yeah, he's gonna sell a lot of toys, sir.
Oh yeah, he's the merch seller for sure.
My fiance was like, "I want a Groot. I want a Groot. I want to get one."
Yeah, mine's too.
I'm like, "Okay, we'll get one at the store."
In your last episode, you were talking about hot toys. There's a hot toy
Of
for
Groot.
and no, it looks super awesome. Like he looks just like when he's wearing that suit in the spaceship.
Yeah.
He's getting.
And how much
key
is
and
that
stuff.
Like $300, huh? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's like 200-300, something like that.
Fucking hot toys are expensive, man. I wanted to add. So, can you tell me? Like, I'll just start off in saying this. If I'm comparing this film against the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm gonna have to say this movie's good, but I'm gonna have to go with Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, Volume 1, as my favorite of the two. Maybe it has to do with because I saw it more times. Maybe because it was just something refreshing compared to the other Marvel cinematic movies that had been released at that time. One thing I can tell you right now, I did like Ego as the villain. I just didn't. I found Ronan, the villain in the first one, much more menacing, much more direct, and to the point than Ego. At least
No, I
in
know
my
about Ego.
opinion.
He was deceiving.
Right.
He
Not nothing bad. I just found the villain in the first Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 to be a better villain, in my opinion, than Ego. Ego's still a good villain. I mean, Marvel still has a thing with like kind of weak, underdeveloped villains, but like you mentioned a few minutes ago, Ego was developed. I like that they finally developed a villain from the very, almost from the beginning of the movie, and then you kind of see what his true intentions are in the third act. Oz revealed. So I like that twist. But
No, I like the second a lot more. They spent a lot more time on the characters. The villain was actually defined and has a backstory, and we get to know his intentions and all that stuff. I mean, he's a god, so he's kind of out there, but I should say a god, but he kind of references him as a god, but a celestial being or something.
yeah, the
Or
celestial.
yeah, I think he said celestial. So I liked the whole thing. I mean, there was nothing. Only thing I could say that was annoying for part 2 to me was this: every time there was something serious, they had to put like a joke in there, which, like I said, was just kind of overdone. But
No, I
I
kind of
was
like that.
I still find some of that funny.
Yeah, I
It was
kind
just
of
done
like
so
that
much.
because when the other Marvel movies, there's something serious, it just stays serious. Obviously, because maybe it's because they're on Earth and they're trying to keep that realistic tone. While Guardians, you're in fucking space. It's just meant to be a space opera. It's at least I see it as a fun, silly movie, and I like that. I like that there's a little humor in it.
No, it's not a little. It's the home. You can just almost just label this as a comedy, and it's just the
It
fact that
is.
there's serious moments, and they don't ever. They always joke about it. Like if you say you watch Civil War, the tension between Iron Man and Captain America, they don't start throwing jokes at each other. They kind of hate each other,
Right, but
They might eventually do something funny, but they don't do it immediately. In this movie, it's like almost immediately they'll throw in something.
I think that's just part of the staple by now for Guardians. So there's a Guardians 3 happening. James Gunn officially signed on to write and direct it. So it's a given that we're gonna see. We're to expect that in Guardians.
Yeah, and just the design, the creative direction behind the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I mean, it's also in Guardians Part 1. It's colorful.
I like that.
They actually were able to have a purpose to have this music from like the 80s and 70s integrated into the movie.
That's another thing I wanted to touch on. The music, the soundtrack is the best in any of the Marvel movies. I fucking love the soundtrack.
Oh, to be honest, I didn't care for any of the songs they played. I'm not honestly when it comes to music. I know I'm in the minority, but just as a person, I have a lot of disconnect with music unless it's like movie soundtrack, like as in like something serious,
right?
With
a composer,
symphony, yeah, something like that. Because the only music I really listen to is metal. There's a few other things I listen to, but it's not because I have some kind of emotional attachment to it. I don't know. I just don't get really attached to music unless it was like something legendary from the movie. Like example, the Jaws theme song.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah, that's legendary, and I have a connection with that. But it's not like
or the Star Wars theme.
Yeah, and there's another one, but something with lyrics, and they're singing about whatever sailors in the sea. They're talking about in the movie. I don't give a shit about that. But I know I'm in the minority for that.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can see, just mentioning that, you can kind of see DC copying that, right? Like with like Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad actually watching this, the poster for this, and the music and all that stuff, kind of reminded me of Suicide Squad. Yeah, but obviously Suicide Squad didn't start it. They copied
such a shitty movie. Oh my
god!
God.
It felt like they did copy it from Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
They were
being colorful, playing all this pop music.
Yeah, it was.
They did the same exact thing.
Like DC is. Let's not even get to DC because let's keep it this Guardians tone. But I just want to add it that DC is.
Well, it's just to give you an idea that the creativity behind this movie is up there, and it even has copies. And I'm gonna give the copy is the Suicide Squad. They're trying to copy the creative direction, the imagery, the music, ideas to some degree. Except DC couldn't even do it correctly. Guardians of the Galaxy does it. They're the headliner. They're the ones who figured this out, and they're doing it well.
Taserface. That's another villain in the movie that cracked me up each time. Especially when Rocket goes on that rant about his name. I was laughing my ass off. Fucking Taserface.
Yeah, it's funny. Even like a minor character had his little part in this movie.
He had a moment in the movie that that shined. I like that they and that a lot of characters shine, especially Kraglin, the Yondu's I guess henchman or second in command. He's played by Sean Gunn. Sean Gunn is related to the director James Gunn. So I like that the director included his brother to act in the film, and I like this character, even though he's just just a pilot of the ship. He had his moments to shine as well.
Just to compare this to other Marvel movies, let's say back to Civil War.
Yeah.
Where a minor character who gets a little bit of shine is just Spider-Man.
Yes.
But in Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like Taserface. They have time and they focus on the characters.
Yeah. I like that shit.
Yeah, versus Civil War, just the little time they had was like Spider-Man, and he's a major character. I know it was just kind of his intro, but it just shows you the kind of timing effects they had in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Taserface was basically had as much screen time as Spider-Man in Civil War.
Yeah,
and it was funny and made sense. So I like that they didn't. They had time for everybody, and even like I said, even minor characters.
So compared to Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Guardians, which one is your better preference? Which one do you prefer more?
No, I like the second one, just because they spent time on the characters.
Second one more than the first
villain,
one?
Yeah, they spent more time on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
The villain's defined and has a purpose and all that stuff, unlike the usual Marvel villains. And I think just even the ending was great too. I didn't like the ending that much in the first one.
Really?
It was just a dance-off.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah.
In this one, it was more epic. This is
this one was
the planet is fucking exploding.
Yeah.
And the reason it's exploding because they had to kill his father, and so there's a lot of tension in the end, and everybody was involved. I even liked the ending a lot better.
Yeah, no, the ending was good. I mean, I like the movie. I'm not saying that the movie was bad in any way. I just still prefer the first one. I don't know. It's like I mentioned earlier. Maybe it's just nostalgic. I saw it more times than this one. Maybe after I see this one, my opinion might change. For now, I felt that the first one was overall a better film. This is still a good film. So you're a fan of the first one, definitely go check out Guardians because you'll be laughing. You everything. It's action. It's silly. It's something that you don't get a lot from comic book movies that are trying to be very serious and gritty and realistic. This movie just throws all that shit in the trash. And it's from the beginning, it's telling you, have fun, laugh, enjoy our characters, enjoy the chemistry. That's Guardians 2.
Before we, because we kind of hit a lot of points here already. Before we wrap up the review, there was two things that I wanted to mention.
Talk to me.
Yeah, one of them is Thanos. He's the only really mention of anything outside of Guardians of the Galaxy's universe.
Yeah. Which
I guess Thanos was involved in part 1. He was. But
he wasn't.
He's Gamora's father.
Right.
Probably why they even did this movie, because Thanos' connection to the team, which is his daughters, which is her and Nebula. Which Nebula I also liked, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyways,
I liked her part in this. She got a big important part in the movie.
Right. Like I said, once again, they spent time on everybody. Gamora and Nebula's relationship as sisters.
Yeah.
And their hate for Thanos. So the whole thing with Thanos was, I like the fact that they kind of mentioned him as he's how strong he is and
powerful.
Many mentions of him how much of a jerk he is.
Right.
Because obviously he causes tension between these two, so you hate them for that. You hate him for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nebula's like, I want to kill him, and even Gamora's like, that's impossible.
Yeah.
So it kind of builds that this guy's fucking strong and he's a jerk. And I like that. He wasn't even mentioned. He wasn't even seen throughout the whole movie, which is fine with me. It's kind of like less is more kind of thing.
Yeah.
It kind of builds that mystique around him, and you get the idea. He's a jerk and he's strong, and it accomplished that without even seeing him, which is great. Because when he shows up on the screen, it should be a huge presence.
Exactly. Yeah, I like the build-up of that. I mean, hopefully it all pays off. That's what I'm waiting for, is a payoff. Thanos has been mentioned in a few Marvel films already. So I going off topic for a bit, my expectations for the Avengers Infinity War is, okay, they're going to be 2 parts. It's going to be a 4-hour movie. They're going to split it in 2 parts. I hope that we get to see some of Thanos, some of his intentions in the first Infinity War Avengers movie, and not have to wait another year for the last part. So I just hope from the get-go, or at least majority of the movie, we see his intentions and he's front and center, because they've been building him up for so many movies now. It's only logical.
He's totally going to be
oh gosh. He's fucking godlike.
No, for real, he is.
Yeah.
Because that's the build up for him.
Yeah, it has to be a big payoff, satisfactory payoff. I don't
Yeah.
want to. I don't want to. He can't be a weak villain like the other villains in the Marvel movies. I mean, Loki is the only one that I love, and we're gonna see more of him in Thor Ragnarok this November. So
Well, so Hela is going to be in that movie, and
Right.
she's kind of like the goddess of death
yes,
in Thor's universe. So that's another connection for Thanos, possibly,
Mhm.
because Thanos in the comics is obsessed with death, like the actual character death. He loves death.
from the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
No, like death. Like she
Yeah,
touches
death.
you, die.
Yeah,
Death.
got it.
Hela's not death herself, but which is kind of weird. It's kind of like the Thor's stuff is their own set of gods. I don't know how to describe
Well,
it.
the Vikings, right? Don't they follow the Viking lore to a certain
And the
extent?
Nord. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, and I'm talking about the MCU, and then you talk about real
Right.
But it'll be fun to see how that if that's connected at all. It's just there's a possibility right there because he's like I said, he's obsessed with death, and they kind of mentioned the first time you see it about courting death. So we'll see if they. I would think they would. We'll see. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was the after credits. All 20 of them.
There was not 20. There was like 3.
Actually, I think let's see. We'll talk about them. So the first one, which is just basically that what was his name again? The first handmaid of Yondu.
Yeah. Kraglin.
Yeah, he took. Yeah, he got Yondu's mohawk and was playing with the arrow. So I guess we could see a return of Yondu's powers. It'll be kind of weird, but I guess we'll see it. Does he turn blue after wearing it for a while? I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, and then what was the one after that one?
The one after that one was Sylvester Stallone's character, was it? Or
Yeah,
was
I
that the
think you're
last
right.
one?
When he's with these other aliens.
Yeah,
powers,
we
looks
get
like.
to see actors like Michelle Yeoh, famous Asian actress. She's been in a lot of martial arts movies in the 90s. She plays one of these friends of his character, Stakar. And who else do we see? Somebody familiar. Fuck, I don't remember now.
One was a robot, and the other one's like an alien. So I don't know.
No, but
Actually see them.
they were familiar to me. I just don't remember who the actors were now. Oh, I remember now. It's Ving Rhames. He's the.
Oh yeah, but he was just one of the spaceships. He wasn't with Stallone.
okay. But we see him.
Well, he wasn't. It was not in the after credit. That was the ending of the film.
Okay. I got him confused.
But yeah, actually, that after credit makes me wonder: is it gonna be a spin-off with this dude? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
because-
Maybe he'll be in Infinity Wars. I mean, who knows? That's hush hush for now.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if they'll throw him in Infinity Wars. I feel like actually, I wouldn't mind seeing their own movie. See how it turns out.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll do as good as any of these other movies, but we'll see.
Even if it's a short film, who knows?
Yeah, maybe it could be a DVD special, or I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what they're gonna do with that. We'll see. I never saw that movie on their plate or plan or outline, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they're phase 3 or phase 2, whatever phase this is. This is still phase 2, is it?
Yeah, yeah. I have. I don't think we're on phase 3. They haven't shown.
Phase 3, you're right.
They haven't shown this in any of the phases, so I guess not. Unless it's like a DVD or Netflix. I don't know what they're doing. Well, the after credit after that one, I think was that the Adam Warlock or the Groot? No, Groot was the very last one.
Groot was last, and then it was the gold people
Yeah,
before Groot.
the Sovereign.
Right.
Right. So this is the High Priestess again, and she's talking about she's gonna create basically someone to defeat the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is Adam Warlock. She refers to him as Adam,
Yeah.
and he's in his cocoon, which is this is him because Adam, that's his name. The cocoon thing, that's his gimmick as well.
In the
Actually,
comic,
it's also her
in
gimmick.
the comic, he was referred to as him when Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created Adam Warlock for a
Right,
while.
and eventually he got named Adam, and
Right.
then Adam Warlock. But
Yeah.
this is him. So he does the whole. He needs to repair himself, so he goes into cocoon. She
Yeah.
actually does the same thing too, but we haven't never saw in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he will be introduced. Now they made him sound like he's gonna be a villain in part 3, but he's also very much involved in the Thanos storyline in the comic books. He's one of the ones that really beats him. So I don't think they're gonna go that way though. So I don't know what they're doing with him. I guess he's just gonna be a villain for part 3, unless he's really gonna be involved in the whole Thanos Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. James Gunn or somebody in the Guardians of the Galaxy family said that Part 3 of Guardians is obviously going to take place after Infinity Wars, after the Avengers. So maybe he will be a villain. Maybe he has some help, or he has a part in Infinity Wars and sticks around to be a villain in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
So if I remove myself from the comic books and just go based off the movies,
Right?
it seems like Adam Warlock is just going to be a villain in part 3 Guardians of the Galaxy. I wouldn't think anything else. They have not given us any reason
Any
to think
other
he's
clues?
linked to Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he may just be a villain. I don't think he's going to be doing anything else.
Yeah, that
Okay.
could be it.
That's my speculation. I don't think he's going to be anything else. And so after that, after credit, we saw Stan Lee again.
Yeah. Stan Lee.
So they basically tied in how he was a cameo in every movie.
How so, sir?
That he was watching all of this, with the is it called the Beyonders or the Watchers or Beyond?
I don't know what they're called.
I think
It was
Man,
3 aliens.
Hmm?
Wasn't it 3 aliens?
right in the comic books they're like that too. They just kind of watch everything. They don't really do much. I think one of them was involved in the secret one of the Secret Wars. I can't remember what he did. I don't think he did much. I think they called it. Oh, yeah, I remember now. It's the Beyonder. But anyways, so it was just funny. They tied it in. Okay, this is how Stan Lee is. That's why he did all these cameos. He's watching everything. What did you think of that?
I didn't think. I mean, at that point I don't know what it was. I just saw it and I laughed because they were walking away. He's like, "Hey, wait, don't leave yet or whatever. How do I get back?" Didn't he say how to get back?
Yeah, it kind of seemed like he's part of it. Kind of, not really. I don't know.
I didn't get that feeling from it.
I mean, so maybe he was just. They put him in these. Okay, I guess the Beyonders. There's like 3 of them, but I guess he just like wanted him to see everything and controlled his fate and put him in all these different scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what mostly they do. I'm getting confused. I sound confused. I only thought there was one Beyonder.
No, I saw 3 next to Stan Lee.
I know. So whatever they're doing there is, I think, is just they are kind of the same thing. They see everything. They are some kind of cosmic deity or entities or something,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very powerful. So I guess they dealt with Stanley seeing all these things.
Yes,
And then
sir.
the final cutscene or after credit scene was Groot.
He was like a teenager now. He was playing on some tablet.
Yeah, he was playing some game, and Chris Pratt's comes in and cleaning his room. And he's like, oh, whatever. Well, he says, "I am Groot." Yeah. So I guess next movie we'll see teenager Groot.
Either a teenager or full-grown Groot. Maybe
Yeah,
a teenager. I mean, I know that they live for a long, long time, their lifespan, because I think in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, there was a reference to how old he is, or he's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah, so I guess with the next villain, maybe they would want him to be grown up, or maybe he's stronger. Stronger, besides being 4 inches tall,
Yeah.
could actually be useful for the next fight.
exactly.
I think they would love to have a teenager in a superhero team. I know he's a tree, but still.
So, anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. That was the last after credit.
Overall,
I was surprised to see that many after credits.
did you enjoy the movie?
Yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was better than part one, and actually one of the best Marvel movies for me.
Yeah, I like this series a lot. It's still one of my favorite series, the Guardian series. So go check it out. Let us know what you guys think. You can tweet us at Bits4You Podcast. Email us at bitsforyoupodcast@gmail.com. And we'll be back soon. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that special Star Wars themed episode recorded on May the 4th. The Guardians of the Galaxy was recorded on May 7th. And hopefully you let us know what the thoughts were on Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, you can email us at bitsforyoupodcast@gmail.com. Number 4 is after the word bits. Same thing goes for Twitter, at bits4youpodcast. Facebook is the same thing, at bits4youpodcast. Shoot us questions, anything you want us to discuss in the future, any topics, whatever the fuck you guys want to hear. We will try our best to put it on our show. And again, the survey is going to be on the description of this episode. That'll help us a lot. And please, another thing, iTunes has the ability for you to review the actual podcast, the entire podcast show, or you can review a particular episode, whatever you want. It doesn't take long to, if you like it, give us a 5-star. If you don't, give us the amount of stars based on that. Give us a little brief explanation as to what you like or don't like about it. That helps us out a lot. All right. I'll stop talking. Have a good day. Thanks for listening.